England squad has been named for the Rugby World Cup 2019. It's a fairly early squad naming as far as I could tell. This video is a couple of days late, seeing as it's old news now, but still, I thought we'd have a look at the England squad, see who made it, the guys who missed out. As I said, it is pretty early in terms of naming the squad. I don't know that any other countries have named their touring parties as yet. If I have missed any, please do correct me, but I believe if this is not the first, that it's at least one of the first, because I mean, England have still got 3 warm-up games to go against Wales, Ireland and Italy, so it's no guarantee that all these guys will be going to Japan, because Eddie Jones also talked about it, that injuries will happen. So he kind of mentioned that in terms of the guys who've missed out, that don't be too downhearted even though you're disappointed, because you still need to be ready for the call-up, because injuries will happen, be it now before the World Cup starts or once the tournament kicks off, be it in training, pool games or whatever it takes. So yeah, we'll have a look at the squad. Some of the guys who missed out, it won't be an exhaustive list, but I'll go over a few of those, and you guys can let me know your thoughts on the squad. So start with the forwards. 5 props in Cole, Genge, Marler, Sinkler and Vunipola. That's a pretty tidy looking set of props, to be fair. I mean, Genge has got the least caps of the lot with 10. You got Dan Cole with 86, Marler with 58, and Vunipola with 53, plus Sinkler's on 22. British and Irish Lions guys there, so yep, you got to think they're going to be pushing teams around at scrum time where possible. Hookers, Cowan-Dickie, George and Singleton. Singleton just the 1 cap, but George, since Hartley's kind of drifted off the scene, seems to have been certainly a man for the job, and Cowan-Dickie is no slouch either. Singleton, he's going to be, you would have to think, the 3rd guy, but I guess we'll see how Jones goes with the selections. Locks, Etoje, Cruz, Launchbury and Laws. Again, a lot of experience there. Laws has got 72 caps, played at World Cups before. Again, British and Irish Lion. Launchbury, Etoje, I mean, he can cover the back row as well if needs be, so there's lots to like about those locks. Loosies, you got Tom Curry, Ludlam, who's only got the 1 cap. He made his debut just in that game against Wales. Underhill, Vunipola, that's Billy, and Mark Wilson. There's a few guys who missed out in the back row as well. I'm pretty happy for Tom Curry that he's not been injured in that Wales game to the point where he's not been named, so he's seems to be good to go, which is very good news, because he has come such a way in the last 18 months or so, even maybe less, but he's really, it wasn't that long ago that you'd say England didn't really have an out-and-out 7, but now you look at guys like Underhill and Curry and you think they're looking pretty well stocked. Into the backs, Ben Youngs and Willie Hines are the 2 scrum halves, so just the 2 picked there. I think a lot of teams will be going with 2 scrum halves. Such a specialist position, you can't carry too many, but other guys will definitely be on call. Hines, again, another guy who just made that debut pretty late in the piece in terms of his own age, but just in time for a World Cup, so I guess perfect timing for him. Fly halves, Farrell and Ford, plus Piers Francis can play a bit of fly half if needed. He's named, probably more as a midfielder though. Also Slade, Tuilangi and Jonathan Joseph. Tuilangi looked in pretty good form against Wales from the bench the other day, didn't he? So if that guy can stay fit, knock on wood that he can. As I've always said, I want the best players at the World Cup, so that includes the likes of Tuilangi. He is such a devastating runner when he is playing. Interestingly, his cap's only 33, but I guess that just shows you how often he has been injured. Wingers and fullbacks are outside backs, basically. Thokana Singer, who again looks like a pretty devastating ball runner when he's got the ball. He's another guy who's kind of come bursting onto the scene in recent times, I suppose. I mean, 5 caps. Johnny May is potentially my favourite English player. I just love watching that guy. You feel like he probably doesn't run it as crazily as he used to. Like, he still always backs himself to beat the man, but he seems to have tempered that a bit, so he's just kind of got that fine balance of knowing when to run and knowing when to kick it or pass it. Rory McConaughey, who's the only uncapped player in the squad, although, as I said, a couple of other guys have only got 1 cap. He was injured. I think he was named initially in that game against Wales, but had to pull out, so he still made it through the cut, so that's good news for him. Who else have we got? Jack Noel, experienced hand there. Elliot Daly and Anthony Watson. So it's a pretty good looking England squad. There are a lot of good guys waiting for the call should some of these guys go down. As always, we hope they all stay fit, but if injuries do happen, you've got other guys to step up. I mean, I've made a note of some of the guys that I thought maybe feel a bit unlucky, but again, some of them have been injured in the lead up. Some of them seem to have fallen out of favour. Some of them have been a bit naughty, and perhaps that's pushed them to the edge of the squad. But I mean, Dylan Hartley, he has been injured for quite a while. I believe he's fit now, but again, it's just the depth is there that he's kind of pushed to the side. Charlie Ewells is another one who could have made it. Brad Shields probably had his mind on the World Cup when he made the decision to head over to England and stop pursuing that All Black jersey, so he has missed out. Again, another guy who's had his injury woes. Nathan Hughes, I'm not actually sure if he was injured or if he just kind of fell off the radar, because he seemed to be at least all the rage for a wee while when I was watching him play. So I know there's a few people out there who don't like him, so you guys will have to let me know what the details are on him. But again, when you look at Underhill, Curry, Ludlam, Billy V and Mark Wilson, you're still pretty well stocked without Hughes there. Perhaps Hines is one of the surprising calls when you've got like Danny Kerr, Ben Spencer waiting around. I mean, did Hines do enough in that one game to show that he's better than those guys? I'm not sure. I mean, I remember him when he played here in New Zealand. He was always pretty good, pretty solid, played for a good team, but I don't know how close he got to the black jersey, so I'll let you English fans decide whether he should be there ahead of Kerr or Spencer. But yeah, that's for you guys. It's I mean, obviously Ben Youngs is going to be doing the heavy lifting, but you need someone off the bench. I quite like Danny Kerr with his little sniping runs, but hey, I guess it's all about Jones's game plan. Danny Cipriani is probably one of the big calls. Didn't he win like Player of the Year from the Premiership last season for Gloucester? The guy has got magic hands and is a very exciting player. Whether that's suited to World Cup rugby is probably a question. There's the attitude thing with him, or perhaps the personality clashes. I'm not sure. He's always a headline-grabbing player for the right or the wrong reasons. For the stuff he does on the field, it's brilliant. For when you see some stuff off the field, it's not so good, although that hasn't seemed, at least that I know of, to be happening for quite some time. He seems to have sorted himself out on the personal level. So, but yeah, it's still disappointing. I thought George Ford played pretty well the other day, so I'm pretty happy with him as a replacement as well, but I'm sure there are some people who would like to see Sips get a shot. Ben Teo potentially for the midfield selection ahead of Piers Francis could be one that some fans will feel a little bit aggrieved about. Mike Brown, I understand he and Teo had a wee bit of a scuffle in the training camp, and that could be the reason that neither of those guys made it. From what I read, Brown was the aggressor and Teo didn't retaliate, but either way, neither of them has made the 31. So, yeah, Alex Good as well, I suppose. That guy doesn't seem to be in Eddie Jones's favour for whatever reason. Seems to always have a stormer for Saracens, but that is what it is. But yeah, I would still say overall, it's a pretty solid looking squad. Definitely one of the contenders for the World Cup. Showed that in Six Nations, even though they didn't win it. Showed that against Wales the other day in a much changed squad. Not sure about the naming of the squad so early. Again, I'm not sure if that's partly to motivate the guys who didn't make it, or I don't know. I'm not sure about the logic behind it, but I'm sure Eddie Jones is a smarter man than me, so he'll have his reasons for doing it. They did release a pretty cool video the other day that named the squad, where they showed like their childhood coaches commenting about the players and club coaches, and like showed pictures about where they've come from, so it kind of shows the path from when they were youngsters basically all the way up to the top level. So that was pretty cool. It's the first time I've seen that kind of video. Like in New Zealand, it's always just read the name and the club, read the name and the club, read the name and the club, and they just go through the squad. So it's pretty cool. If you haven't seen the video, check it out. It's on England Rugby's YouTube channel. But yeah, that's the squad. As I said, I've mentioned a few names who could feel unlucky. There are definitely more. You guys let me know who you think was unlucky to miss out. Any of these guys that you think are particularly lucky to make it. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.